published on the 3rd of May 2012, which will determine which players qualify for the Olympic Games in London later this year. Well, we've got a great lineup for you this afternoon. 5 matches. We're starting with women's singles, as you can see. Players making their way onto court because it's Xuerui up against the former world junior champion Saina NEHWAL. Following this women's singles, we'll have men's doubles, and the pair fresh from their victory last week in Germany, Hongwei and Shenyang. They're up against the Korean pair who won this title back in 2008, Jung and Lee. Following that, we will have men's singles and the former Olympic champion Taufik Hidayat of Indonesia up against the current Olympic champion Lin Dan of China. Then after that, men's singles, we'll have another men's doubles, Chai Biao and Guo Zhengdong, the number 5 seeds from China, up against the defending champions from Denmark, Matthias Bo and Carsten Mogensen. And then our 5th match, 2 unseeded pairs. This should really get the crowd going because there's British interest. Chris Adcock and Imogen Bankia, World Championship silver medalists from last year. They are up against the top Malaysian pair of Chan Peng Soon and Go Liu Ying. So there is confirmation of the lineup. And so the women's singles players already on court, and of course we've had 4 courts in action throughout the week so far, but now it's quarter-final stage and we're down to just 2 show courts. Li Xuerui, the number 7 seed who reached the final last week in Germany, up against the former world junior champion Saina NEHWAL. Well, I'm Jill Clark, and I'm once again delighted to have sitting alongside me Anthony Clark. Anthony, I'm going to ask you 1 or 2 questions about these girls in a minute, but let's just look at the statistics. Seeded 7 here, Li Xuerui, the player from Chongqing in Sichuan province. 13 and 2, and that is because, as I said a moment ago, 1 in Germany, beaten Juliana Schenk in that final, and she's had 1 or 2 problems in her first round here. I don't know if it was a sort of hangover from her victory in Germany, but in the first round here in Birmingham, went the full distance against Linda Xuerui of Bulgaria, but came back strongly in the decider, 21-10. No such problem yesterday against the qualifier, Maria Phoebe Kusumastuti of Indonesia. So to Saina NEHWAL, 21 years of age, as indeed is her opponent, although she will turn 22 a week tomorrow. Saturday the 17th, her birthday, from Haryana in northwest India, but now lives in Hyderabad. And as you can see, a healthy win-loss record for the year. That translates into a semi-final at the Malaysian Super Series, a quarter-final in Korea. Now, she too has had problems in her opening match. That was against the young Thailand player, Sapsuri, going the full distance there. But against the 2007 finalist, Pi Hong Yan, in the second round yesterday, much more convincing, 21-10, 21-17. So this, the 5th meeting between these 2 players. And as you can see, Saina NEHWAL, the number 4 seed, has only won 1 of them. So it would seem that although she's ranked a little lower, Li Xuerui is possibly favourite for this encounter.
Players ready to start. Thank you.
Well, this really is such a big moment for both players. Of course, Li Xuerui this week achieving her highest ranking, up to number 5 in the world, and it's quite extraordinary, the strength of the Chinese players.
Ladies
5
and
of the
gentlemen,
top 6 players
on my right, Li Xuerui, China.
Saina NEHWAL, of course, is the only player in that top 6 that's not Chinese. She's at number 4.
And on my left, Saina NEHWAL, India.
And both our court officials from England.
Please try to serve. Level. Play.
So the number 4 seed, Saina NEHWAL, nearest to us. Semi-finalist, of course, at New England 2 years ago when she was the number 7 seed, lost in that semi-final to the eventual champion Tina Bown. And when she did reach the semi-final 2 years ago, became the first player from India, Indian woman that is, to reach an All England semi-final. Now, Anthony, of course, you and I have chatted many times about the qualities of Saina NEHWAL, and for a long while she felt that she was the lone battler against the top Chinese player. She's very skillful, she's a great fighter on court, but she has to play one Chinese player after another so often in these tournaments.
She definitely does, Jill. That's something that Tina Rasmussen went through much in her career, early days. I think the biggest challenge for them is to really believe that they can beat the Chinese players. Saina NEHWAL's very, very skillful, incredible player, still very, very young, but she is taking on 5 or 6 Chinese all on her own, and it's more of a psychological battle than anything else.
Well, that's landed in. And we were talking yesterday about the drift. There was a former great, Zhang Ning, 2 Olympic gold medals. In fact, the reigning Olympic champion now coaching the Chinese women's singles squad.
4-1.
Never won the All England title, so 3 times a beaten finalist she was. Now, Anthony, of course, Xuerui is going to be on a real emotional high, full of confidence, having won last week at the German Grand Prix event. But it also means that she's played an awful lot of badminton recently. Do you think that's going to have an effect for today?
It can definitely have an effect. Obviously, she's got through a couple of rounds here. She's probably found her rhythm back again after winning last week. Of course, always that emotional side whenever you win a tournament. And some players find it very, very difficult to do 2 weeks back-to-back. But the Chinese players train so hard. They're ready for this kind of event back-to-back. And if anybody can do it, they can.
Just wide. Yeah, good call by the line judge. We're looking straight down that line. Yeah, that's well long of the back line. And I really think that Xuerui has been one of those players, Anthony, that's been just bubbling near the surface, ready to break through and really make an impact on world badminton. Of course, she's not the most famous of the Chinese players. Oh my goodness, luck of the net cord there. It's a good rally. Going wide. Very good rally. And when you think at the end of last year, I thought that Xuerui, she reached at least the semi-final of her last 5 tournaments last year, and I just thought it's only a matter of time before she starts winning these big titles, which of course she did last week in Germany.
I think she's clearly shown that she's making that next step up to being one of the very, very top Chinese players in the world. You know, to be in the top 5 Chinese players means you're an exceptional talent. And to now go on and push forward and be the top couple is definitely her aim.
6-5.
It was an opportunity. Yeah, a little look towards the lights. perhaps lost sight of it momentarily. That was a beautiful net shot. Tight spinning shuttle. Oh my goodness, what on earth was that? Yeah. She's not happy either.
6-7.
That's brilliant play from Saina NEHWAL. I think one thing that's happening so far, Jill, is there's a bit more of a drift than there was in the arena yesterday. And I think the overhead shots are actually struggling to time them a little bit today.
Oh, service fault called, struck above the waist.
8-7.
Paul Buffum, the service judge. That's nice. You know, you sort of think, you expect a player to be off balance who played to the deep backhand corner 3 times, but still seemed beautifully as in control as she played that winning smash. And that really is a trait of the Chinese, isn't it? Getting behind the shuttle, remaining on balance.
They're such good movers around the badminton court. They make it look effortless. That can be very frustrating for an opponent to see a player, you know, you hit your best shot and they're already standing there waiting for it because of their efficiency. That's something they spend hours and hours every day doing, and what makes them the players they are.
Yeah, well, having just sung her praises about her movement, that looked like a tired lunge forward towards the net. Yeah, body weight, torso falling over. Well, we've already posed the question, I wonder if all those matches last week in Germany would take their toll. And one goes long off that back line. What has Saina NEHWAL tactically got to try and do? What should be her basic tactics here?
Definitely she needs to run the Chinese girl. Like you said, Jill, she's clearly very tired from a very, very tough week last week, but Saina NEHWAL needs to be aggressive in all areas, to be honest. Needs to attack the Chinese, can't just let her play her game.
11-8, interval.
So to the mid-game interval, with a 3-point advantage, the number 7 seed, Xuerui. Well, most experienced players, now the coach. I wonder if, in my own mind, I'm wondering whether perhaps Saina NEHWAL needs to exploit and try and control the net area a little bit more. Certainly, from what we've seen so far, the couple of times she has taken the shuttle early at the net and got in that tight spinning net shot, she's forced the short lift, and then she has the opportunity herself to play with her wonderful disguise and deception overhead.
Totally agree, Jill. One of the best areas of NEHWAL's game is around the net. She plays really good spinning tight net shots, but that's what she's got to try and force her opponent into doing, playing more to the net.
Well, perhaps little signs that she was prepared to block more to the net. Unfortunate for her, she made that error on that final push. Oh, that's remarkable. Pushed Saina NEHWAL from corner to corner. Got her deep in the forehand side. She's been to the net, deep in the forehand corner, and then immediately the fast one down her backhand side. And the Indian #1 having to scamper the full diagonal of the court. It's the furthest distance. Just couldn't get there in time. Yeah, once again, I think at the moment, your point about the fact that Saina NEHWAL needs to stop defending, she's got to try and attack herself, because at the moment she's just reacting to what her opponent's throwing at her.
All of the Chinese players play that reverse round the head shot so well. It's such a trait of the Chinese girls, and it's what they're looking for. They're looking to set that one up because they know they must practice that shot all the time. The way to take the game to them is to take them out of their comfort zone. Don't just allow them to play their game.
Well, this now is a run of 6 straight points from 9-8 to 15-8. Landed well in.
16-8.
And this, one suspects, is the decisive passage of play in this opening game. Oh, that is delightful. What wonderful disguise. You've just been talking about how good she is round the head, but just proving that when Saina NEHWAL tries to do something different, mix it up, and that's what you get in reply.
She's just showing her opponent at the moment that she doesn't have a weakness. You know, we talked about the fatigue element in this match, but at the moment she's moving nicely. She's only shown that on one occasion where she's looking fatigued. So confident overhead.
And finally, the run of points comes to an end. But 9 straight points really has put a different complexion on this opening game. Yeah, she got the shuttle behind Xuerui on that occasion.
10-18.
Always a sign that a player is in trouble in singles when they turn and have to play the backhand from deep in that back corner. That's landed on the line, that's beautiful.
19-10.
Well, the idea was good, and there's no question of that.
20.
But a tactical awareness in that game from Saina NEHWAL. But with the error on the drop shot, come 10 game points from Xuerui.
Service over. 11-20.
Commanding the rally more.
It's definitely the way she's got to take the game to the Chinese girl. I think the biggest issue so far in this match is that Saina NEHWAL hasn't played the conditions very well. Quite often it can be a big factor within a match of how well you can play the arena. There is a big drift in there today, and she's mistiming a lot more shots than she normally would, and it's definitely having an effect.
Well, the line judge calling it out, but of course Xuerui had touched the shuttle before it landed. Umpire spotting that. Oh, that's fantastic. What accuracy, what an angle. Oh, what a tremendous opening game from the number 7 seed, Xuerui from China. Just 15 minutes, 21-13. Indeed. Did you, as a player, if you had won the opening game, did you just want the coach to reinforce what you were doing, or did you like new tactics?
I think you just wanted your coach to come on, keep encouraging you, keep informing you that, you know, you've won a comfortable game, that your opposition was always going to come out firing that little bit harder, and just keep reiterating all the game plan that you went in with. Don't really change anything, just keep it rolling.
Still, obviously, an awful lot of advice being imparted to Xuerui. They obviously feel she can still do better. Punela Gopichan, the All England champion of the men's singles back in 2001, giving Saina NEHWAL an awful lot of tactics. He's a very quiet man, he's a very intelligent man, and I'm sure that he will have imparted many words of wisdom.
Court 1, 20 seconds. Court 1,
there he is, on the right as we look at them. Marvellous All England win he had, beating Chen Kong, if I remember correctly, in the final.
Play.
But the big question is whether Saina NEHWAL can actually implement the tactics that Coach Gopichan has actually suggested. It's interesting, Anthony, she did actually split from Punela Gopichan last year as her coach for a very short period. There was a little bit of a disagreement about how much time she was spending off court with one of the male players from the squad, and coach really felt that she should be concentrating 100% on her badminton. Anyway, they sorted out the differences pretty quickly, and now under the guidance of Gopichan once again.
Service over. 1-all. Two, 1.
Just read that so well. She was standing waiting at the net.
Fantastic play. Getting your opponent moving deep into the forehand corner, making them move the full angle of the court. You know, it sounds a simple tactic, obviously very, very difficult to implement. That's the nature of singles.
Well, the longer that the rallies are extended now, the more chance, I think, of Xuerui losing patience and making the error, as indeed she did in that last rally. Very heavy strapping on both knees. Chongqing in Sichuan province. Yeah, both knees heavily strapped. I can speak from experience and say knees do take a battering in badminton.
They definitely do. I was very, very fortunate to not have trouble with my knees. In fact, I'm getting them more now that I've stopped playing. And there's a lot of jumping involved in this sport, and that's what takes its toll.
Well, we've counted 3 unforced errors already in this second game from Xuerui. Oh, that's marvellous. That just shows the character of the youngster, doesn't it? She's made a couple of errors, you know, I've noted it, but then she still has the courage to go for such an acute angle.
She just totally believes in her quality. I mean, the way she cuts across that shuttle to make a cross-court match, it comes down so steep and so tight to the net. They practice these things over and over and over again, so that when they go out on that court, big championships, they know they can play it every single time.
Begs the question then, by implication, you're saying that the other players aren't practicing quite as much as that.
I definitely believe that the Chinese and the Koreans would practice more than any other nations in the world. I mean, they're probably committing 6, 7, maybe even 8 hours a day to their badminton.
That's very, very clever from Saina NEHWAL. The change of pace, the power play, looks for the net, and then the delicate little block. Yeah, easy put away. Last year at these All England Championships, Xuerui won her first round match, and then in the second round gave a walkover to her teammate, the number 3 seed, Wang Xin. Yeah, but that's nice. Wang Xin, of course, was a casualty. She was the number 2 seed this year. Casualty in the very first round. Lost out to the young Korean Sung Ji-hyun. Yeah, good variation on the smash.
Definitely we've got 2 shot players out there. And at the moment, it's a case of who can produce the best shots in each rally. They really are coming out with some really deceptive stuff and keeping their opponents guessing. That one to the body. And Saina NEHWAL starting to have a lot more success now in this set.
Oh, she doesn't like the call.
7-all.
Well, it was called good. No overrule from the umpire. And a shake of the head from Saina NEHWAL. Oh, well, I can understand why she was upset.
Service over. 8-7.
Yeah, she knows that one. That reverse slice, she wasn't really ready for it. That was a lovely shot, though.
Both of these girls are really playing the drift well now. It definitely seems easier to play from the end that Saina NEHWAL's at now. Being able to bend that one almost outside the court and bringing it back in. Such an intelligent shot, but the confidence to actually be able to send the shuttle outside the court to start with is awesome.
Service over. 8-9.
So just get the impression in Xuerui definitely trying to keep Saina NEHWAL at the back of the court. Fantastic. Super play.
Just showing a total array of shots at the moment. She can hit the straight slice, the reverse slice, the cross-court slice. That one, just rolling her wrist over the top of it. It's an awesome shot to be able to play.
And it's drifted wide.
11-9.
So on a run of 4 straight points. Xuerui goes to the mid-game interval with a 2-point advantage. Totally different sort of pressure on these two players. In fact, I'm not really sure that Xuerui has that much pressure because, you know, she's already got 4 Chinese players ranked above her in the world, so she's not expected to produce the goods as far as China is concerned, whereas this player, all the pressure is on her. Not only is she one of the lone players in women's singles that really challenging the top Chinese dominance, but of course she's India's only real hope of a singles medal at the Olympic Games next year. Of course, they have a fine women's doubles pair as well. And it's interesting because she was actually talking recently about how she struggled last year, Saina NEHWAL, after having such a brilliant 2010. Of course, 5 titles in 2010, including 3 Super Series events, 3 titles back to back. And it often happens, though, doesn't it, Anthony, that a player bursts onto the world scene, suddenly doing well, and then you have to consolidate that. You plateau a little bit, and you have to get used to the pressures before you can then start moving on again.
One of the difficult things for Saina NEHWAL is that she's become very much a megastar in India. You know, when I was there at the Commonwealth Games in India in 2010, a lot of adverts about her, a lot of media attention. I mean, she won the tournament, but the kind of exposure that she was creating is immense. And to deal with that kind of pressure outside the games, very, very tough for such a very young girl.
Yes, absolutely. And when you talk about attention, of course, back in 2009, as a 19-year-old, she was voted Indian Sports Illustrated Sports Person of the Year. And it's actually reported that she's the 3rd highest earner of any sports people in India, behind Tendulkar and Dhoni, 2 top cricketers. Now, a lot of attention, I think, is an understatement. just overdone it.
It's a great rally from the Chinese player. Just couldn't finish off the final product.
Yeah, she addresses the shuttle early. Didn't have to play it that close to the line. I think Saina NEHWAL was so far out of position, just guiding her to cross court would have been a winner.
I think sometimes you can have too many thoughts going through your mind. I think she could have played any number of different shots at that point to win the rally and just didn't really pull through the shot enough.
No, missed it. Personally think that Saina NEHWAL here has to really keep her mental discipline. Looks to me as if she's trying to win rallies too quickly. You've got to build the opening in singles. You can't force it like you do in doubles. You've got to work your opponent first.
I think the big difference between Saina NEHWAL and the Chinese top players at the moment is the physical prowess that they bring to the court. All the Chinese girls overhead are very, very strong, which makes them very, very deceptive as well. Saina NEHWAL has all the skills in the world, even more so than some of the Chinese players. Just isn't physically built as powerfully as some of the others. And I think when she's overhead, Chinese girls don't really fear her. And so that means she has to go for a lot more deception, a lot more creative. And so we've seen so far in this game, she's making quite a few mistakes.
Just wide.
Service over. 13-14.
Just wide. I just sensed as that rally was in progress, it was a big, big point.
This middle stage of any game is so crucial. This is the point where you get that 3 or 4 point lead and you've got that cushion. And then if you can obviously match your opponent point for point, you know, you've won the game. It's very, very difficult now that this new scoring system is trying to pull it back.
$16-13.
Yeah, really didn't get the shuttle over and past Xuerui. What a difference when she does get the shuttle right to the back of the court. Puts the Chinese player under a lot of pressure.
16.
Big part of playing singles. Get your opponent right onto that line. It's very, very difficult to hit a shuttle that's landing directly on that back line. I think that's the problem with Saina NEHWAL in this game. She struggled with the drift to find that decent length.
Wide. It's very difficult though, isn't it, Anthony? Because, I mean, you know, she doesn't want to do a loopy clear because that gives the Chinese player too much time. She's tried the punch clear and she's hit it too low, so the tall Chinese player, she's over 5'8" tall, she's leaping up and intercepting. So getting it absolutely right, giving it enough height to get it past her, but not so much time to allow her to get behind it. And it's a very difficult, very fine line.
Absolutely a very fine line, and that's why you have to credit the Chinese player. She's so dangerous if you just give her that time.
Yes, and so accurate on her smashes.
17-15.
Right idea, but once again, just overdoing it. And time is running out for Saina NEHWAL. can see those last two rallies, the drift coming into play, that sideways drift you were talking about, coming from right to left as we look down on the court.
Just a brilliant smash. Sometimes you just have to credit your opponent that they can just produce such quality. But yeah, being able to play this drift is a massive part of the game of badminton. Shuttle is such a light thing that it moves with the air conditioning in an arena, and that's often the biggest challenge in a match.
And it's called long of the back line.
17-19.
Oof. Well, that was long by a whisker. Oh, good aggression.
Service over. 20.
With
Match
that
point
error
17.
on the defence there from Saina NEHWAL. And 3 match points for the Xuerui.
Service over. 18-20.
It's going wide. Well, 2 match points have bbeen saved. But 1 more remains for Xuerui. My goodness! Would you believe it? Had Saina NEHWAL all over the court, way out of position. But all credit to Saina NEHWAL because she scrambled the shuttle back. Oh, the frustration for the Chinese coaches. It's 20 all. Extra points required until there's a clear 2-point winning margin. And that's gone wrong. And having just saved 3 match points, now Saina NEHWAL has a game point to take it to a 3rd and deciding game. Oh, that's nice. Made sure of it this time.
21 all.
Oh, it's weighing. Clever defence from Xuerui. Yeah.
22.
Just got it over the heads of Saina NEHWAL. It was well inside that back line. So now, a 4th match point opportunity. It's going wide. And on her 4th opportunity, the number 7 seed, Xuerui, breaks the hearts of Indian fans because Saina NEHWAL, for a 2nd consecutive year, goes out at quarter-final stage. Well, she fought so hard, as she always does. But in the end, Xuerui, just too many winning shots, really. And a great display by her. 21-13, 23-21 in 39 minutes. Xuerui takes leave of the court, safely through to the semi-final. And I can tell you that she will play the winner of two youngsters, either Tai Si-yoon from Taipei or Sung Ji-hyun from Korea. Remember, it was Sung Ji-hyun who actually disposed of the number 2 seed Wang Sin in the first round. So that is the bottom half of the women's singles draw.